All right, Sketch 67, and I'm thinking for this one I might do something that's a little bassy, or at least explore playing around with some kind of bass type sound. I don't know what that means. I never know what, usually things are gonna sound like in these sketches. It's always such a crapshoot, but that's the fun of it, I guess. The excitement of discovery. So bullshit like that. Okay, so bass, obviously, we should pitch this thing way down. Let's go 2 octaves down. Yep, almost just a feeling coming through my ears at this point. I want to hear what... Yep, I do like how some of these distortion effects... It almost sounds like a broken speaker a little bit. And for making bass drones, I think it's nice to have turn off the re-trigger, give yourself a few voices. You'll have some overlaps, which you can hear the phasing going on there. Yep, almost sounds like we've got a bad cable somewhere in the line. Which, honestly, I think it's a lot of fun to try and take broken equipment and make some interesting things come out of that. It's not easy. It takes a bit of imagination, a bit of blood, sweat, and tears, some experimentation, which obviously is, goes for all good sound designs. It takes that kind of recipe of perseverance, patience, hard work, blah, blah, blah. Gosh, that goes for just about anything in life if you want to succeed at some things. God knows, easier said than done, and it can be quite a pain in the ass to get to the point where we feel it's good enough. I'm constantly in questioning that for myself. What is good enough? What does that even mean? And is that even, what level should one strive for before selling one's soul, so to speak? God knows I've lost many a girlfriend along the way in the pursuit of getting some crap done. But that was also part irresponsibility, part determination, part obsession. I guess when you're addicted to the exploration thing and the adventure of it and the fun of discovery and all that, that keeps us going, that keeps us motivated and inspired, some things are gonna get lost along the way because of that, unfortunately. So some would say, oh, that's a noble pursuit. Others would say that's a fool's errand, or that's not really what's important in life. I guess, we're lucky that we live in an age where we can kind of do whatever we want. Cool. Liking some of these modulations, automations, whatever. This kind of inconsistencies along the way. I should have fixed this loop first. Whoops. I need to do things in the proper order. Make sure we got yep, everything's looking good. I think I need to reset the start point here. But let's go ahead and turn this off. Okay. I could hear some kind of industrial beats on top of this. I've heard a few great tracks along the way with these bassy kind of guttural drones and some nice industrial beats. And as long as, you know, we keep the bass drone evolving, I think that there could be a simple combination that could actually work. All right, let's have a listen to... Oh, I do like the sub in there. If we're going to go for bass, it's nice to have a... Let's have a look what that's doing. Yeah, you can see it just kind of... It's probably just a simple, like, low shelf something or the other. Or perhaps it's a little more responsive than that. I'm not sure. I know the drum bus effect does really cool things with bass. Even without drive on, crunch on, or boom on, it's still boosting things somehow. Almost though it is adding just an automatic 3 decibels of gain somewhere inside of it. Best way to get to know all these plugins, just drop them in there, really listen. Don't do like I'm doing and just talking all the time. No, really listen and move knobs and just really pay attention to what does what. Let's turn the drum bus off right now. It's almost overbearing, too much bass. Also helps to have a good speaker setup, some good speakers that can handle bass. I like my Mackie HR824s. They do put out a lot of bass. I remember reading before I bought them, they were really popular in the hip-hop scene. And yeah, they do push out a lot of bass. The Rocket 8s actually have a really decent low end. Just have to hope you don't have neighbors that are really sensitive to that kind of thing, or at least if you're living in a flat that you're on the top end, very end, and your studio is somewhat not over their neighbor's bedroom. All right, enough blah blah. Let's get in an auto pan / tremolo. Cool. I think this is before the resonator is going to give us an interesting combination there. Resonator providing a tail. We haven't really touched the operator's parameters yet. All right, cool. So we'll come back to this. Well, real quick, I did want to... All right, neat. I want to just play with this 1 second, and then we'll jump on a little beat action. Yeah, that resonator is... It's nice that the pedal is obscuring the resonator's kind of atypical sound. I mean, I can still hear it coming through there a little bit, but wish there wasn't that pop there. That could be useful somehow. I guess if you wanted to do some kind of glitchy type of effect. Glitch pops like this actually can sound pretty decent when run through further distortions and filters. All right. let's move on. Firstly, let's save this inside our sketchsplorations folder. Try to do that first, but oftentimes I just forget. My brain is honestly hit or miss some days. All right, cool. Well, while that's indexing our project, I'm going to just mess around with another operator here. Yeah, oftentimes for me, melodies can be very elusive. It takes a lot of futzing about and just doing really terrible sounding stuff. Well, we could easily bypass the whole forcing ourselves to do a melody thing and just get a Alright, let's see where we're at here. And let's play with the nice kick hat. Seems like a nice, easy, only have to hit one note, and then we get our easily make a Dust Brothers sounding track. It's nice to tune your filter sometimes. Bust the res up really high and just get that note pushed out. And we could set the filter to be controlled by key. Frequency key. And sort of play the filter with the keys. For now, we won't go there. Okay, let's get in there and dirty some things up. And let's get this, give this kick a little more boom. Boom. I like that it's got a snappy top and kind of a real heavy bottom. It helps when your kicks have that sort of snap to them. It helps them jump out a little bit in the mix. Yeah, but you know, if it's the same level of snap, oftentimes I think it can get a little redundant. So I think it's good to automate the level of your snap just a little bit. Give it some variation. Just a little, you know, in this case, I think a little bit of like adding our own random LFO simulation here will go a long way. There we go. Let's clean that up. All right, nice. Cool. Now let's see about this so-called hi-hat. Yeah, I think I want to automate this phaser all to hell. To hell and back with you, phaser. There we are. Now, probably could use a bit of reverb on this whole thing now that I'm really stopping to listen to it on an objective whole level. It's definitely good to learn to do that. Keep your stuff in perspective. What is the benefit and greater good of the piece as a whole? What does it need? And if you can somehow remove your ego along the way and think of it objectively in terms of like, what does this need to be better so that it hits that level of quality that's out there? and not just, you know, stuck in your own head, your own bubble, which is easy to do and kind of something that needs to be done to some degree in order to keep ourselves thinking, this is fun, I feel good, I feel like I did a good thing. Somehow we can do that, but also remember, like, okay, I also need to work really long and hard on this thing and be very determined to get it to quote-unquote status quo. I like this like really tight room. It's almost like the speakers are set up in a basement studio room. I'm just a sucker for reverbs. All right, let's just try Taiko Drum in there. Gonna be way too bassy, I'm sure of it. And now I want to hear what this taiko will sound like. Yeah, and a sampler. I'm already hearing too much repetition in our, you know, hiss hat. I don't know. It could be like in the industrial scheme of things. It's a machine that's got steam pumping out of it at a interval rate. Let's try this. Oh, let's arm this track and then try this. Taiko out. I love industrial music, or at least the old stuff from the 90s. I don't know really what's honestly happening with industrial music now, but that's what I kind of grew up on. Or at least that's what inspired a lot of my early experimenting with computers and music. 9 Inch Nails, just all those cool, weird, alien sounding synth noises. Let's play with our filter here. Yeah, could be nice to have a real slow movement on the filter. And it's a lot of Italian minimal or, you know, drone techno kind of does a lot of that really slow evolutions of filters and various parameters. It creates a hypnotic effect, which, you know, for that style of music, I think is really pretty effective. Nothing wrong with creating music that has a hypnotic effect. Hypnotize your audience into loving you. No, I mean, it puts people's minds in an easy place, I think. An easy listening, yeah. Almost. Not easy listening like how the notes easy listening, but just easy to listen to, helps people's minds sort of flatline a little bit. I mean, God knows we all think way too much in this day and age. Cool. I'm mainly just speaking to myself on that, like, you need to slow your brain down, dude. Alright, let's check out a grain delay, and I finally got my auto hotkey mapped properly for this one. let's give ourselves a bit more reverb. Go ahead and map our wet and dry and our gain. I should just make a preset of this and have this easily recalled with my hotkeys game is constantly evolving. It's gutter. I'm not even spelling that right, but who cares? Who cares? This ain't no spelling bee. Use like a snare kind of smash type sound. Maybe we could fashion one out of our. Ay. Let's. Yeah, that is not the snare I'm looking for. Maybe if we drop we pitch it way up. I'm always curious to see if I can make a one sound out of a really unassuming source. We want to turn our loop off for now. Okay, and I think an arpeggiator would help here. And if we were going to try to turn this into a snare, I think we would want to try and saturate it, do some kind of messed up stuff with distortion on this. And the wave shaper always has lent some really weird and crazy results. A slurpy high in there. Wow, that is really intense, and I think we've got. Yeah, I think the saw clip helps kill some of that. Almost like a drum and bass type snare at this point. Yeah, Redux also adds some noise in there. I mean, just unexpected sounds you can get from very simple techniques. But that is the fun and beauty of sound designs. Let's see what we can do as far as getting some random velocity in there and maybe getting this sound to variate with each hit. So for me, that's always a fun goal. Even just a little random velocity is creating a bit of dynamics that are kind of interesting. We haven't even messed with the filter on this yet either. just crazy, transformative. I mean, could hear like a slow-moving random LFO in there. Wish we could get the velocity, MIDI velocity, to be able to easily affect this stuff. I know there are Max for Live solutions with that, which I should probably find one at some point. I think that would be pretty cool to get, where either MIDI notes coming in you can have it map to random, cause random parameter jumps with each note, or just, random velocity could almost has this brittle, crunching, computer just dying sound to it. Could just spend hours tweaking this one sound into oblivion. Could even, I'm curious, make another type of hi-hat sound from this this Taiko. But first I want to drop in a really just gross reverb in there. Let's try the reverb on the end here, really tight. There we go. We'll give it its own space. And reverb before the saturator also has its own cool sounding effect. It's a bit more subliminal and subtle at that point, I think. So I'll leave that there for now. And let me just drag, holding down Control, and copy and paste. I almost like that sound in and of itself, just the simple sort of resonant. If we try some of these other all right, well, it's a solid beat established. Try to do some kind of, ambience. Oh yeah, we need minor keys. We got to keep this serious, folks. It's got to be tough, got to be serious. Almost got a trancey sort of vibe to it, industrial trancey. I guess that's that Italian thing these days. Voices from the Lake. Which I do, honestly, I'm not a huge trance fan, but if you can even call it trance, hypnotic techno or drone techno or whatever. Let's just not use the term trance. It's too many bad connotations. There was a time when trance music was actually really interesting and original before it ended up in, McDonald's and shoe stores all over the world. Becoming the EDM commercial garbage that it is today. Yeah, let's get that slow, the slow movement filter. I think we're gonna really want a lot more runway for our filter to slowly fade up. Let's just sit with this for a second. And the hissing machine needs something. It's probably needs a volume adjustment. And this also needs some could be fun to also do some really slow automating of the tremolo there. Right, let's pull in a delay. I just realized with this sketch, my delay, my delay auto hotkey does not work as I have. It now pulls up the filter delay. I mean, it sort of works. I wanted to just pull up the regular one, but I basically have it typing out the, typing out Control F, typing out delay, and then pushing the down arrow key 3 times. This gated delay showed up somewhere along the way. I think it's from one of the Ableton packs I installed. So now I have to go back and adjust my auto hotkey to, so if I just type in delay, this should really show up first. I don't understand why it wouldn't. It's very odd to me. So anyway, one more down arrow keystroke added into the hotkey mix would fix. Also slowly automate these. I feel like this is a tenet of the genre of this hypnotic style. This hypnotic techno style is, just slowly moving things along. There's a lot more to it, no doubt, but there's one obvious glaring thing I noticed listening to some of that music. That is it, the slow evolving filters and various parameters. I'm just gonna go out on a limb here and try sort of holding keys down. And removing keys. Like every key I remove at this point, I'm going to add one. And then let's start the sequence over. Add some I guess we'll play with the filter delay. Then it's not an effect I really use a ton anymore. With the new delay, there's a filter section built in there, and I'm surprised they left this delay in, but they didn't leave the old chorus and stuff in there, which actually reminds me. Let's do everything at 0 on this. I definitely want this one to be a lot more subdued. And now I am hearing a need for more reverb on this. Gosh, the built-in old school Ableton Reverb, one of the most terrible reverbs. It's really good in some circumstances, really awesome, but one of the most fake sounding. And maybe it's just that I've heard it one too many times. So I'm immediately turned off a little bit by it. I think it got used probably in too much. Too many songs, and it's overused. When I'm making sounds for video games, I still do use it quite a bit. Once those sounds are in the games, if there is any of that reverb on it, you really don't notice. Now let's do a slow fade blend of up to down to that. We'll just kind of let that do its thing. And the auto filter is also a nice way of adding in some variance along the way. Yeah, because this snare sound is a bit repetitive, I'd say. And of course we could put a note probability in there. So much more we could do. We could really weird this piece out, and that's not always what we have to do. Definitely want to get some of this pitch warbling on these analogs here. Yeah, now we're talking. Just taking it straight down into cough syrup land. Bit more interesting, I think. Just like everything looks better in slow motion. Just like that old Dave Chappelle sketch. Sometimes slowing things down a lot really does kind of really cool things. Very old school sounding with this filter in there. Easiest ways to make things sound lo-fi, very cheap sounding lo-fi is just mono and get yourself, you know, a little high pass there or high shelf and roll off a lot of the high end, a lot of old gear, you know, just and old speakers didn't really deal much with stuff in the high end. A lot of old speaker profiles or even a little not bassy. Very cheap methods for getting that old lo-fi sound. Some of the best plugins I found for doing lo-fi stuff are made by Audio Thing. This is a freebie that they made. Personally, I like a little bit of a stereo action. It just feels better in my ears. But I gotta say, this Redux, with these settings, not a bad lo-fi type of feel. Almost feels like it's run through some really crappy 80s sounding gear. If we select all of these and just hit the 0 key on our keyboard, we can sort of do an A-B comparison between our So, why don't we save this as a preset? Lo-fi cheapo. And we could map a whole bunch of other things. Yeah, I don't even think we need this here in there, but I'm gonna listen to it in there anyway. This is just some extra level of lo-fi-ness. Awesome, okay, so we'll save this one, audio effects. Lo-fi cheapo, and just drop it in there to be forgotten for all of time. We've got so many in there now. It's hard to say what is what. Lots of stuff here. Sometimes I just like to drop a random thing in there to see what the heck will happen. Maybe some texture in there. We should alter our preset. We've used this one quite a bit. Although I love it, and I think it sounds really organic and fascinating as it is now a sound we have used a whole lot. So maybe this lo-fi cheapo in there could sound interesting. It's worth a try. Everything is worth a try. some of this. Sometimes you just gotta get in there and get your hands dirty and draw some stuff. Sounds very wet. One thing we could try is a, let's turn this back into a tremolo by taking the phase all the way down, and let's set it to the beat. Give ourselves like a cut on, cut off. And doing this effect, you get kind of a chopped up. As you can hear, it's more to the beat. I can hear so many more things we could add to this, but sometimes you just gotta tell yourself to shut up in that pursuit of overlayering. And sometimes you just gotta indulge that stuff. Usually I overlayer things, and then when I come back to a sketch after a few days or weeks, you know, I am able to at least make sense of, you know, these layers don't work, or I need to adjust these layers more, or I can figure out at least what order to put the puzzle pieces together to make something somewhat meaningful. Sometimes when I hit record and then I start just playing clips to get something settled down over here, I have to do that process like 4 or 5 different times to get the best take, and oftentimes I'll combine, you know, different variations. I'll do like a recording up for a section, you know, and then I'll start recording from here and do another take, and start recording from here, do another take, and I'll just grab, you know, and cut time and move the best chunks, sections from each, and sort of put them in that order, and then smooth out the in-betweens, finesse the transitions. It's usually never that straightforward, but that is definitely a one of the methods, one of the main methods, I'd say. Cool. So this duplicate tremolo added at a 1/6 rate helps create really off-hand rhythms between the two of them. Cool. And by pushing this up to 12, I think, and the time to here, I think we're getting a lot. Yeah, a little more crunchy than slurpy, I think, at this point. And I want to put in the pre-11 chorus. This also adds a level of crunch when you turn on the multiply. So combined with the lo-fi cheapo, this chorus let's just have a listen. Cool. If we really wanted to just have the high ends coming through. We could do something like this. Just boost, and I'll only allow the didn't want to do that. I think I wanted to do this. And almost hearing this kind of slight groove. I am being informed somehow by all these layers together. I don't know if I'll be able to pull off what I'm hearing in my head. Now it's almost kind of gone into a more sort of fourth world style. What is fourth world, you might ask? Look up an artist, John Hassell. There we go, we got our groove. Yeah, a lot more fourth world-esh. We got to get some cheesy. Fourth world is just kind of nostalgic, almost eclectic sounding, but you know, stemmed out of the 80s, 70s and 80s, I believe. Some of the early cool sampling stuff. Sort of new agey, sort of. Yeah, it's hard to put a finger on it. It's a very sort of alien world vibe. Yeah, that reminds me of some fourth world kind of hijinks. And then we would we need some volume to fade in here. seriously wish I could record automation into a clip on this group. That would be just make my day. So instead we have to get ourselves, do a little workaround. Oh, feedback loop. So let's pull from 12 group. There we go. Now we're doing the right thing. And then let's send 12 group to sends only. Definitely, this sketch is a departure from our usual nonsense. Sometimes you just gotta take a breather. You gotta do something different. You gotta like switch it up. That's all there is to it. But it's a good thing we're not trying to impress anybody here. So we can do whatever the heck we want. We can make these tracks as cheesy. That is the best kind of mentally free state to be working in. Like, these sketches don't need to be used for anything at all ever down the road. So there is no reason to think that we have to do things a certain way. Transpose and 10. Okay. I want to add in a lot of space here. And let's get these playing at the same time. This one needs to be 10. Let's try this. Cool. And some delay on there. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we could do something silly where we just split the left and right on that. Not sure what that'll sound like. Let's go ahead and fire these off again. Awesome. You know, it's not 100% perfect, but I think, of course, we could jump it back up to 121, and now we got ourselves a trance track. A cheesy trance track, but whatever. I like it slow. Cool. All right, well, you know, I think that's good enough for now. Gosh, I just realized the levels were pretty low on the piece. Too in the zone. Anyway, you can open up this project on your own, in your own time, and dissect it. Heck, yank tracks out, remix them, use them for your own thing. As always, you know, remix it and make it your own thing. Don't just copy and paste, man. Even though that's gonna happen anyways, I get it. Some people are just addicted to instant gratification and, you know, have not learned any sense of patience. I mean, I definitely fell victim to that a few times. At least in the commercial realm, you almost do have to rely on presets. And sometimes you don't have time to really sit there and tweak your presets into oblivion to being really original for your set, for your own sound. It's the bane and the boon of commercial music. You know, you're making music for money, you're getting to eat and putting a shelter over your head, doing the thing you love, but at the same time, you've got a deadline and, you know, you'd almost just rather kind of get that stuff done sooner so you can get back to the fun stuff, like exploring and trying out new things. So, yeah, that's where those presets really get used. I certainly over the years learned to make a big distinction on using my own presets and my own music, and that's always the big debate. To preset or not to preset, that is the question. And honestly, I love presets as a starting point. I always tend to use them as a starting point. And even when I pull up, you know, the default operator, this is a preset, you know, it's just the default sound. So it's like we're all using some presets anyway. So who cares? And I'm realizing we don't have a good pitch shifter in here. And I think we are well deserving to have a good pitch shifter to be used. An inline max for live pitch shifter. I'm thinking we'll pull one over from probably that free pitch and time machines. Yeah. The pitch and vibrato one was a really good. Little Mickey Mousey, but I wanted to try it out here. Yeah, as I'm trying to wrap up, here I am, you know, going down another rabbit hole. I wanted to put it in here, so we didn't need this one. We can turn that one off, and let's have a listen to it. I think we just wanted it a fifth up. Maybe a fifth down. Cool. Let's collect all and save, and that'll pull this device into our project folder. It's funny when you collect all and save, it has to stop the audio, but you can do things like install an Ableton pack and still be playing stuff in the back. It makes no sense. There we go, and let's just move this and clean it up and put it right in there. All right. For later use, I think a pitch shifter can also sound really nice on a beat layer. Kind of an alien sort of trippy sound, but cool. We'll save that one for a rainy day, and still feel like we could almost use some more reverb on the whole. That's probably too much reverb, but whatever. I don't even think this cutter is really, I mean, what is it doing? Do we need it in there? Interesting, it's a whole other world. So we'll just, yeah, we'll leave that in there and we'll just have this one turn on every now and then. One, two, three, looks like. Turn on for 2 measures. I guess that's the cheesy equivalent of the DJ pulling the bass out. Okay, finally we are done. I accomplished all the silly things I had in mind. So, until next time, keep it weird. Keep it fun, keep exploring, keep pushing the limits, your limits. Try to challenge yourself each and every time so that you grow a little bit with each sketch.